सदा तुच्छव भूत्वा दीनगणे शतो करुणया मंडलपति शनि सदा तुच्छव भूत्वा दीनगणेशः करुणया कौपीनकण्ठास्थितौ गोपी भावरसामृताब्दलहरी गोपी भावरसामृताब्दलहरी कल्लो लमरणं वन्दे रूप सनातन रघुजुगौ श्रीजी भगवान
Hare Krishna, good evening. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prachayane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatyate Shatarine. So what are we studying, by the way? What are we studying, Madhuri Radha?
Hare Krishna, would you please repeat?
What are we studying? What are we studying?
I don't understand your question. Please repeat.
What are we studying?
Nectar of Devotion.
Nectar of Devotion. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Nectar of Devotion was written by?
Srila Rupa Goswami.
No.
Srila Prabhupada, sorry.
Srila Prabhupada, yes. It's a summary study of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that was written by?
Srila Rupa Goswami.
Srila Rupa Goswami, exactly. Okay. You have to make it very clear. Why is so important this book? Anyone can tell me what's the importance of this book? Why are we studying? Why we give so prominence to this, to the study of this book? Why Srila Prabhupada wrote the summary in the first place? Why? Kishori.
Because our main duty is to be engaged in devotion.
Not just in devotion. Not just devotion, but pure devotion.
Devotion, yes.
Pure devotion, because if it's not pure, we will not attain pure love for Krishna.
Yes.
We attain something else. You cannot even go to heaven, or you go to Vaikuntha, but not to Krishna Loka if it's not pure.
Yes.
So, and why the nectar of devotion is so important then? If you have to practice pure devotional service, okay, we're already doing it, but why we study the nectar of devotion then? We're already practicing. We have so many errands to do during the day, so many activities, and you do our sadhana. Why you need to study the nectar of devotion? We're already doing this stuff.
It tells us how to properly offer a devotional service to Krishna.
Properly, yes, to understand how to offer pure devotional service properly, you know, because we may sometimes be engaged, but not be properly engaged in a sense, really understand what is the goal. We may be doing so many activities, but we are not even aware of what is the goal, just doing for the sake of doing. Certainly, they are very purifying. But when we do them knowing what is the goal, it takes on a different dimension. It's like if you go to college, you are studying, but your goal is not just to be there studying in college, it's to get graduated, to get a degree, so you can find a good job. That's why you go to university or college to study, but the study is just a means to attain something. The difference between this school and any ordinary school is that in a nectar of devotion, we learn that the process and the goal, the process used and the goal are themselves the same. It's pure devotion. So we practice pure devotion to attain pure devotion. But in the beginning, our practice may be awkward, may be very imperfect. So that's why we need to study, to have it very clear within our hearts, within our intelligence, that we don't do mistakes. We avoid the mistakes and we practice properly. Like when we study, we have the textbooks and we have the teachers to help us, sometimes even tutors to help us so we can understand the subject better, and then we can become graduated. The same in devotion practice. So this is the special mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that we will be celebrating his appearance in 2 days. He is the original teacher of the science of loving devotion, because he comes in a mood of Srimati Radharani, who is the person who knows best how to serve Krishna. She's the person of pure devotional service. Okay, we say this prayer to the 6 Goswamis. Nana Shastra Vicharane Kanipuno Sadharma Samstapako Lokanamitakarino Tribhuvane Manyo Sharanyakaro Radha Krishna Padaravinda Bhajana Nandena Mataliko Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghuyugo Sri Jiva Gopalako Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghuyugo Sri Jiva Gopalako. We read the translation. We offer our respectful obeisances unto the 6 Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunatha Dasa Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who are very expert in scrutinizingly studying all the revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing eternal religious principles for the benefit of all human beings. Thus they are honored all over the 3 worlds, and they are worth taking shelter of, because they are absorbed in the mood of the gopis and are engaged in the transcendental loving service of Radha and Krishna. So we are studying particularly this book written by Srila Rupa Goswami under the direction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But we honor all the 6 Goswamis because they all contributed to, in many writings, to help us to understand this science very, very proper. So the first thing we need to know is the first thing means the definition, what means really pure devotional service. And we have the Sanskrit verse. Some of you are clever, are intelligent, they like to memorize things. You can memorize the verse in Sanskrit. It's one of the verses most quoted by Srila Prabhupada. All over his books, Prabhupada quotes this verse. Anytime he speaks about pure devotional service, what is pure devotional service? Prabhupada quotes this verse because it's the key verse. Is the most important verse in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And bear in mind that Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is a biggest work in terms of verses than even the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's big, big, big. If you were going to comment on this book, somebody will do it in the future, we hope. In the whole book, it's going to be bigger than the Srimad Bhagavatam. Anya bilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukulyena krishnanu shilanam bhakti rutama. So here we are speaking about pure devotion, the definition of pure devotional service. Can anyone tell me what is the Sanskrit word or words that define pure devotional service? What the meaning, the word that really means pure devotional service in this verse?
Bhaktir Uttama.
Bhaktir Uttama, exactly. Bhaktir Uttama means the topmost, the most perfect form of bhakti. Because as we know, there are 4 other forms of bhakti. We can have bhakti for our country, bhakti for our family. Huh? And you can have bhakti to Krishna, but with a material intent, or with a desire to be liberated, or just to be happy, be peaceful. But that's not pure bhakti, it's not Uttama bhakti. So bhakti Uttama or Uttama bhakti, this is what means pure devotional service. And the definition is that is Krishna Anushilanam. And explain what means Krishna Anushilanam. Because in this way, yes, say it, please.
It's an activity intended to please Krishna.
Yes, Krishna Anushilanam is an activity for the pleasure of Krishna. Anukulyena, that means, Anukulyena means, anyone?
Favorable intention.
Favorable intention, yes. So it's not just an activity to please Krishna, but it's an activity that is intended to please Krishna, with a favorable intent to please Krishna. Because as we saw, sometimes demons, in their anger against the Lord, they fight against the Lord, and the Lord feels very pleased to fight with them. So it means they please the Lord by their fighting spirit. But we cannot say that the demons are devotees. We cannot say they are performing pure devotional service. Certainly not. So anukulyena, that's why Srila Rupa Goswami wrote this word, anukulyena, favorable. And so anytime we should offer service thinking this is to please Krishna. And when you say Krishna, can also refer to his pure devotees, the spiritual master, and his holy places. So service rendered to these different personalities, different things, are considered pure devotional service. And jnana karmadya navritam, what that means, jnana karmadya navritam? Jnana karmadya navritam. Anybody? Jnana karmadya anavritam. Anavrita means covered. Covered. Jnana and karma. What means this? Jnana and karma. This is a question for Kishori Radha.
Jnana means the knowledge of the philosophy, and karma means by the fruitive activities.
That jnana, what is the goal of jnana?
To attain only knowledge.
No. Why they have knowledge to understand that we are not matter, we are spirit. So you should be liberated from material existence. Jnana is knowledge that brings about a result, is liberation. So that time of liberation we are not interested, and we should not also be interested in the fruitive results of our activities, material sense enjoyment. So it should not be covered with these intentions, either liberation or fruitive activities like go to heaven, things like that. Because devotional service can also be used for that purpose. If you are interested, welcome, huh? But you don't need to do Bhakti Ruttama. You can just concentrate on Jnana or Karma, but by offering devotion to the Lord, you're going to attain the results of your desire. But we are not interested in that. We are interested in achieving love of Krishna, pure love of Krishna. That's why our devotional service should not be covered by these intentions. And Anyabhilashita Shunyam, Madhuri Radha, you will be able to answer this one. Anyabhilashita Shunyam. I see Jinky is very, very eager to reply. Jinky, go.
Without ulterior motive.
Without ulterior motives. I don't mind that if you read your notes, but at least you have your notes, and you like this, by repeating again and again, it's going to become part of yourself. So yes, not covered by any, not having any other motives, ulterior motives that are nothing to do with the pleasure of Krishna, means our personal motives. You know, we should not bring in our personal motives. In the beginning, we do have personal motives. But if you really want to come to the stage of pure devotional service, we have to give up all other motives and just concentrate on pleasing Krishna. It should be the only motive. So any other desire should be removed. Shunya means zero. It should be zero. So in this way, just by reading, by understanding word for word, you can explain what is the definition of pure devotional service. So I want one of you to, in your own words, even if it's not in the right sequence, in your own words, give the definition of pure devotional service without looking at your notes. Using just what you understood by the meaning of these words, use it now, make a sentence with the definition, even if it's not exactly the same. So we're talking about pure devotional service. Pure devotional service is Krishna Anushilanam, or Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam. Pure devotional service is Shamalila, can you help? That was Navadvipa Prabhu. You want to go? You want to answer?
Selfless love.
Well, selfless love is a very quick definition, yes. Ultimately is that, selfless love, you're right. Ultimately, but based on a Sanskrit verse, you know, understanding the meaning of the words or the sentences, how we explain in a very concise way, in a very clear way, because you say that to anybody, a selfless love, and say, I have selfless love for my child, but that's not pure devotional service to Krishna. So selfless love, yes, for Krishna, yeah, for Krishna, you could say. So can anyone, using the Sanskrit verse, come out with a definition of pure devotional service in your own words? No parrot repeating the definition that was translated by Srila Prabhupada. Just do your own. Shyamalila, want to try?
Hare Krishna, Ashu. Pure devotional service means being free from the desire to get impersonal liberation and being free from desire to enjoy fruitive activities and serve Krishna for the sole purpose of pleasing Krishna in the way that Krishna desires.
Right, yeah. And should not be, this first sentence, Anyabhilashita Shunyam, should be free from any
motives.
Personal motives,
Personal
yes,
motive.
personal motives. Yes, very good, very good. See, okay, you did quite a lengthy definition, but you covered it. That's the main thing. We should understand what this means, because by understanding all the different points, positive and negatives in the definition, at any given time, we know if we are practicing pure devotional service or not. We are not just interested in memorizing things or academically know things. We want to know things to apply in our daily lives, because we are not just practicing for the sake of practicing. We are practicing to achieve a goal. Otherwise, the risk is there that our practice becomes stiff, become mechanical. So we have to understand always that we are doing pure devotional service and not other form of devotional service. Jinky, would like to try your own definition, including the whole elements given in this verse? Jinky,
Yes, Ashu.
try.
Pure devotional service is an activity. It's an active engagement. It is intended to please Krishna. It is free from ulterior motive and does not cover philosophical and fruitive results.
Very good, very good, very good. Anybody else wants to try on your own words?
Maybe I'll try a short
Try, Kishore.
one. Yeah. To serve and please Krishna with all your heart, without personal desire and personal motive.
Without personal desire, personal motives, yes, without intention for liberation or enjoying the fruits of my results. Yes, I cook for Krishna's pleasure, not because I'm going to enjoy after the results. You see, you can, in any situation, we can be doing devotional service without being really pure. We may cook for Krishna, but with the intent of thinking, I'm going to enjoy this. I'm going to offer to Krishna to become karma free, so I don't suffer the karma. But that's more like liberation, intent for liberation, to be freed from any material obstacle. That is liberation. But cooking, I'm going to cook this because this must be pleasing to Krishna. Oh, that's pure devotional service. That's what when you offer, see, the standard we have in the temples to make offerings to the deities is much higher than the standard we have at home. In the temples, Srila Prabhupada wanted that our practice all be concentrated on pure devotional service. So deity worship is one of aspects, measured aspects of pure devotional service. Because while doing deity worship, we have to cook the preparations that are dear to the Lord. We have to dress the Lord in a proper way that is pleasing to the Lord. There's a standard. There's a standard to be followed. That standard is meant to help us to please the Lord, to help us to please the Lord, the guidelines that are important. So this is, we are not going through this definition every time just for the sake of memorize what is the meaning. No, it's for us to help ourselves, in our daily practice. Okay, another question. Sadhana Bhakti has two divisions. We already said Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti and Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. One is regulated and the other is spontaneous. What's the inspiration? What's the difference of inspiration for these two practice? What is the inspiration to do Vaidhi Bhakti, and what is the inspiration to do Raganuga Bhakti? Moksha Lakshmi, would like to try this one? What is inspiration behind your practice of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti or the practice of Raganuga Bhakti? Because that's the only difference, is the source of inspiration in these two cases. That's the difference. They are both sadhana bhakti, but one is superior to another because because of the different source of inspiration. So what are the two sources of inspiration for Vedi and Raganuga? So in this way, you can know which one are you practicing now. Moksha Lakshmi, you want to try? Jonah, you like to try?
Yes,
What's
actually,
this? Yes.
one is to always remember Krishna, and the other one is to never forget about Krishna.
Oh, not really that. But it's the Vedi sadhana bhakti, yes, means the goal of sadhana bhakti, Vedi sadhana bhakti, is to always remember Krishna, never forget him. Yes, that's true for the definition of Vedi sadhana bhakti. But what my question, maybe you didn't understand very well, it's what inspires us to practice either Vedi bhakti or Raganuga bhakti. What is the source of our inspiration to do one or another?
Can I try?
Try.
What's inspiring us to do is to do Vaidhi Bhakti is to from the instruction of the Guru.
Yes, the scriptures, the order of Guru, the orders of given in the scriptures. This is our source of inspiration. Is most of us, we are doing this. We are doing service, following the orders and the guidelines given in the scriptures, Guru and the scriptures, and the saintly devotees. And Raganuga, where the source of inspiration comes from for Raganuga? Sure, you did that much, you can finish.
I don't have it on my notes, but I have here is that it should not
Look at the definition: spontaneous devotional service. So
Yeah.
what will be the source of inspiration for spontaneous devotional service? Why you are spontaneous? Try Lalita.
The presence of Krishna.
Yes, we have a natural attraction. We have a natural attraction to please Krishna, natural attraction to please Guru. Natural. We don't need to be told, you have to do it, you have to do this like this, or do that. No, we just naturally, we want to do it. Yes, naturally we want to do. And later on, we're going to learn, at this stage, we start following those devotees who are really purely dedicated to the service of the Lord. They become our source of inspiration. Like sometimes can be our guru, can be Srila Prabhupada as our source of inspiration. We want to do, look at Srila Prabhupada, how he sacrificed so much. So I should also sacrifice to do my service to my Guru Maharaj and to the devotees, because I want to follow in the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada. That's spontaneous. We don't need to be forced. Okay, but you have to do like this, you have to do like that. But we push. No, you do spontaneous. We like to do. We like to please Krishna. We like to please Guru. We like to please Srila Prabhupada and the devotees. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, all of you. You perform well in these questions. I'm very, very happy today. Now, we already covered this first 20 items of primary importance, remember? And we did the positive ones and the negative things that we should avoid, like we avoid non-devotee association, as we avoid touching fire. In particular, we don't become close to those who hate the person we want to love. We want to love Krishna, so we don't come too close. Too close means we should not be too intimate in terms of revealing our devotional feelings, our devotional interests to people, even if they are family members and if they are not interested. We don't need to hate them, certainly. We love them and we care for them, but you maybe is better don't even reveal much about devotional service if you feel that they are not able to understand or receive it. So we avoid talking. Sometimes even better don't talk about Krishna to them. So in this way, they will not disrespect Krishna and the process of devotional service. So this is very important. Those negative things, things that we should avoid, this one is one of the most important, and then we'll have the last one later on. But now we just cover very quickly a few of the points of this negative points. This also is a very important one. Don't let failure be a cause of depression in your life. You fail, don't worry, you're gonna fail many times. But like a child trying to walk, if he fails, he falls down, sometimes hurts himself, but never gives up. Stand up and try to walk until one day you'll be able to walk without falling. And even then, there's always risk of falling. So don't let failure make you depressed and rob your enthusiasm for bhakti or to please Krishna. Shouldn't. Many times the devotees get caught by failure, and because they are so much intent into becoming perfect, which is a good intention, but we are too far away from perfection. We are not so much considering perfection at this time. We are considering progression, how we can progress gradually towards that goal of perfection. Yes, you should keep the goal in mind, but now we should be concerned about progressing, gradually progressing. And so in this way, if you fail, you understand, okay, I failed, but I'm going to stand up and I'm going to try to do better. So in this way, you don't lose our enthusiasm. Don't feel depressed if you fail in your practice of devotional service. Yes, feel introspective, may have the sense of guilt of not doing proper, but don't feel depressed, because otherwise you lose enthusiasm for devotional service. That's one of the major reasons why some devotees go away from the practice of Krishna consciousness. Because of weakness, they have failed and they become depressed, and then they think that they are useless, they are not meant for practicing devotional service, and they go away. And going away, we know, is not a solution. Never will be a solution. Sorry, 1 instant. Even if a devotee is frustrated in his attempt to eat properly or clothe himself properly, he should not allow this material failure to disturb his mind. Rather, he should use his intelligence to remember his Master Lord Krishna and thus remain undisturbed. Means it's okay if you don't profit. It's okay, even it's okay if you fail to find food and shelter. Just contemplate Krishna and your mind will be peaceful, because life can be oftentimes very difficult. But we should put our mind on Krishna and it will be okay. Now imagine, put yourself in the same situation Srila Prabhupada was in his first year in New York. I was thinking this morning, again, oftentimes come this thought, imagine Srila Prabhupada, just a simple fact that just one thing, that he was used to a very warm weather, and Srila Prabhupada loved warm, very, very hot weather, very hot weather. And Srila Prabhupada had to face one of the most terrible winters in New York, and he had no proper clothing. Must be so terrible for him to undergo this trial, just a cold. Prabhupada did not have money, did not have a security. How's going to be tomorrow? How's going to be the next day? Somehow, Krishna would provide. Srila Prabhupada never lose faith, never gave up. 1 year, this is 365 days. 1 year like that, with so much uncertainty, no guarantee of success. But he knew that this was the desire of his Guru Maharaj. And because of that, he was determined to continue, even though so much failure was there, so many obstacles, but never became depressed to the point of leaving. Okay, I go back, I just go back to Vrindavan. In Vrindavan, I don't have these problems. I can just go out, people can give me some rice. Sannyasi can beg. In the West, you cannot. But Prabhupada was practically doing that. He even went to the extreme of living in the same apartment to a meat eater. And Srila Prabhupada, because he was very clean always, he would clean the place because his roommate was very dirty. He would clean the place every day. He would clean the fridge, and in the fridge, the other person had the meat. And Prabhupada would remove the meat with his hands and clean the place and put back the meat. He would never touch meat in his life, never. The man who used to cook meat, and Prabhupada has to tolerate that, and Prabhupada would clean the kitchen after and cook his offering to the Lord. Can you imagine living in this situation? Srila Prabhupada didn't tell all the details, but little things that Prabhupada mentioned to certain devotees is heart-rendering. How Prabhupada went through so many difficulties, but he never gave up, never gave up. And this is our good fortune that Srila Prabhupada never gave up. Otherwise, where would we be? Certainly not here discussing nectar of devotion. And another important item, but not giving pain to other living entities. Yes, cockroaches may be there in the kitchen, but then the solution is to keep the kitchen clean, very clean, and cockroaches will not come. Prabhupada, once the devotees approached Srila Prabhupada in one temple. Srila Prabhupada, we are infested with cockroaches. Can we kill them? Prabhupada said, you should be killed. You should be killed. Prabhupada, at that thought, okay, can we kill them? Prabhupada really disliked that. And in Mayapur, they used to, before sunset, before the mosquitoes start coming, particularly in summertime, there is so many mosquitoes. So before the mosquitoes come, and they usually come before the sunset, when the sun starts setting, mosquitoes come, are mostly evening fellows, you know. So Srila Prabhupada used to continue to do his translation, his writings. So his servant would build a very huge tent over his desk. So Srila Prabhupada could continue his service of writing under a big, huge mosquito net tent that they had made it customized for that purpose. So the devotee, this case was Harisori Prabhu, used to make the tent from outside, and then you would go inside, crawl underneath, to go and check if any mosquito was trapped inside the mosquito net, because could be. And he would remove them with his hand by catching the mosquito and close his hand, and then under the mosquito net would pass his hand and would open the hand, and the mosquito would fly out in a room, would not stay inside. At one time, he caught one mosquito and he put his hand under the mosquito net, put it in the outside of the tent, opened his hand, and he was looking at the mosquito in his hand. And Srila Prabhupada in his desk, he noticed that. And out of concern, Srila Prabhupada asked him, did you hurt him? And then the Arisuri said, no, Prabhupada, he just flew away. And Prabhupada kind of, mosquito. Here is a spiritual master, a Jagat Guru of the whole world, with followers all over the world, with a greater responsibility to spread the mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu all over the world with so many temples, and he's concerned about one little mosquito. Why? Because that little mosquito is individual soul, very dear to Krishna. So be very careful. Be very careful. Be very careful not to hurt other living entities, even if they are in forms very abominable, like a cockroach or a rat or something like that. Find ways to trap them and throw them away. Find a ways to avoid them to come inside by keeping your place very, very clean. And you can avoid these problems. We spoke about Nama Parada, we spoke about Seva Parada. We are not going through the different items of Seva Parada. I recommend you to read in the chapter 8 of the Nectar of Devotion. Srila Prabhupada lists, has a very extensive list of the main Seva Paradas. Most of them are common sense. Some of them may be a little complicated. So if you, in your reading, find anything that you don't understand very well, then next time you just mark down the number, which one is. So the next time we can just mention which one is, and we look for that in a list that I have here and we'll discuss. Now we are not going to read them. We are not going to read them. It's an extensive list that I beg you to do it on your own. And if there is anything that you find a little confusing or not very clear, don't understand very clear the purpose, why this rule, don't let me know when we can discuss next time, okay? So remember, the first one of the things we should not do is to associate with those who hate the person we want to love. So don't associate with non-devotees or people are antagonists to Krishna consciousness. At least don't get too close to them. Don't reveal your intimate feelings about Krishna consciousness, because they may not understand and they may commit offenses. And the other one, the last one, is blasphemy. Blasphemy against the devotees. Don't become, remember, don't become close to those who hate the person you want to love, was the first thing we should avoid. And the last one is one should be very intolerant towards the blasphemy of the Supreme Personality of God, that's Krishna, or his devotees. We cannot accept, we cannot tolerate blasphemy or hurt against Krishna or his devotees. You see the example how Haridas was so mistreated on the marketplace. And because of that offense, and it was not just insults, but physical beating, because of that offense, all these Muslims, they had to suffer such an ordeal. They suffer so much, everything there was lost. Everything was terrible. Shukadeva Goswami tells Parikshit Maharaj, my dear king, if a person, after hearing blasphemous propaganda against the Lord and his devotees, does not go away from that place, he becomes bereft of the effect of all pious activities. It means that if you don't go away from that place where offenses are committed, you're gonna reap the result of those offenses. So what should we do? But at the same time, we hear Lord Chaitanya saying, Shikshastakam, the devotee should be more tolerant than the tree, more submissive than the grass, should offer honor to others, may not accept honor for himself. I mean, he should be humble, very humble. Very humble. So And we see there, the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had a very humble demeanor when he was in the midst of all those sannyasi Mayavadis. You know, yes, it was such a humble attitude in order to confront them, even though they were great offenders of Krishna. Mayavadis are great offenders, but Lord Chaitanya used a very humble attitude. But he had a purpose to capture their hearts and eventually transform them. He converted them into Vaishnavas. But in another situation, when he was informed that Jagai and Madhai had hurt his Nityananda Prabhu, he went into a rage. He immediately went to the spot and called for his Sudarshana Chakra. He was going to kill these two rogues immediately. How could they dare to hurt my devotee? Because to himself, what they would do to himself, he would not care. But doing something to his devotee, he could not tolerate. So the Vaishnava may be very tolerant and meek, give up any personal honor. But when it is a question of honor of Krishna or his devotee, he will not tolerate. To himself, yeah, he's very tolerant, meek, more tolerant than the tree. But if these devotees of Krishna are offended, then cannot tolerate. This is the attitude of any Vaishnavas. So if we are in a situation where we hear or see some offenses committed against Vaishnava or Krishna, what should we do? There are three ways which we can deal with insults against Krishna and the Vaishnavas. Three ways. One way, if we hear somebody blaspheming by words, if you are expert, we can try to defeat that person by argument. Make the person understand that he has done a big mistake and should rectify. If this can be done, if you are strong enough to do like this, we expert to defeat their arguments and stop their offensive attitude, do that. Because in this way, you can help the person to improve and to have more respect for the devotees and Krishna. But if you are unable to defeat the opposing part, the next step is that we should not just stand there meekly, but should give up his life. Ayah, that's tough, huh? Okay, the third option, if he's unable to execute the above two mentions, the two processes, then one must leave the place and go away. At least this one. So these two, okay? Expert, if you are expert in defeating the person's argument and change his attitude, this is the best. Because from that point, that person may stop offending Krishna and his devotees. But if you are not able to convince the person, and you are not able to give up your life, then you just leave the place. Go away. Go away from that place. That place is a horrible place. That place where there is offenses against the Lord and his devotees is a horrible place. That's why the first one, remember, we should be very careful to not disclose our devotional intention, our devotion desires and aspirations to people who cannot understand, even if they are very close to us, like family members. Don't disclose. Be very cautious until you think that they are able to appreciate or even accept, which would be a success. Until then, don't reveal so much of what you know about Krishna consciousness, because they can become offenders. They say things that will hurt your heart. And then you may feel going away from your family association, which is not good for them. And not for yourself either. So better act with caution. But if you are confronted with offense already happening, then we either try to oppose the person with argument, defeat the person with argument to make the person understand the proper position of Krishna and the devotees. Or if you are not able to do that, just leave the place and go away. Don't be there witnessing offense, because you're going to lose all your devotional credits. So I was planning to do more than that, but I will not go further. We're going to study we're going to study we studied the 20 items of primary importance. We're going to study 44 additional items of service, beginning by the beginning ones, items of sadhana. So, and then we have the five more to complete the 64 items. So items sadhana, these are items that we practice throughout our devotional life. So they are very, very important to know them and pay attention to them. But we're going to see this next time. So we still have 8 minutes for 7. So if you want to share something or give a comment or a question on something was not very clear to you, please feel free now. You can either write down, Madhuri Radha, work as a servant. All the activities are for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord only. Oh, this was your definition. Oh, it's very nice. Work as a servant without any personal motive. You could write more. Work as a servant without any personal motive. All the activities are for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord only. Yes. It's very concise, but very good. Very good. I like that. It's the main thing, because we have the main characteristics in that definition, and we have the secondary characteristics. The secondary characteristics support the first characteristic. So the first characteristic is that pure devotional service is an activity meant to please Krishna, with intent to please Krishna. This is the main definition of pure devotional service. And then the other thing, support by giving more details, should be free from personal motives and should be free from any intent for liberation or enjoy the fruitive results. Yes, very nice, very nice. Thank you. So any other comments or reflections or questions?
Hare Krishna, Ashu.
Yes.
Yeah, this verse that we went through, it says that even if a devotee is frustrated in his attempt to eat properly or clothe himself properly, he should not allow this material failure to disturb his mind. Rather, he should use his intelligence to remember his master, Lord Krishna, and thus remain undisturbed. This kind of like reminds me of the phrase, don't tell Krishna your problems. Don't tell your Krishna about your problems. Tell your problems about Krishna.
That's nice. That's a nice one.
Yeah, because practically our problem is just so small and Krishna is so big. And so it says here that we have to use our intelligence to remember Krishna. I mean, just remembering Krishna is already a mercy of him.
Yes, and this is the greatest gift.
Yes.
You know, you may not have enough to eat or to shelter ourselves, but at least we can remember Krishna. Oh, this is wonderful, because there will be a day we're gonna have to drop everything. You're gonna not just drop the things we need, but you're gonna have to drop this body, which is the thing that we are most attached to. What are you going to do at that time? You're not going to think, how was about my bank account? Who's taking care of my apartment? Who's going to cook tomorrow? No, I'm going to leave my body. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. I just have to remember Krishna. So we have to prepare ourselves for that final moment. So difficulties are there. Srila Prabhupada says many difficulties are just there to help us to pass the different tests so we can eventually pass the final examination. There's different tests in life, and failures, we say failures are the pillar of success. By failing, we learn how to do better and eventually become successful. So these things are not bad. It's not that because we don't have enough or things don't go the way we like and there are too many difficulties, we should be discouraged. No, we shouldn't. This should be an impetus to think more of Krishna, to think more of him. and call his name with more intensity. Please help me to overcome this attachment to these petty things and just understand I should remember you and nothing more. Because by remembering Krishna, we are successful. Yeah, our petty problems, this is nothing for Krishna. Nothing. Why he allows us to have difficulties? It's because it's a means to help us. Srila Prabhupada said, in any field of activities are difficult. You go to school, there are difficulties. No student think that it's very easy to go through his studies. It's always difficult, but they know if they go through the difficulties, they pass the test, they're going to get their degree. So the same, we have to undergo difficulties because that's the material world. We are. Yesterday we were reading from the Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter, the last verses, and Srila Prabhupada in one purpose said, practically speaking, trying to serve Krishna is like declaring war to Maya. Declaring war to Maya means if you are declaring war to Maya, means there will be difficulties, there will be problems. Fighting against Maya is not an easy thing, but that's what we are doing. We are declaring war to Maya. So difficulties are there. Sometimes we fail. Sometimes we are defeated. Yes, sometimes we are defeated, but we stand up and continue fighting. Krishna, 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 because we want to please Krishna. We want to become his dedicated servants, because this is the most wonderful thing that can happen to us. It's so wonderful to be Krishna's servant that Krishna himself wants to be a servant. He wants to taste, wow, how wonderful is that to become the servant of Krishna. I want to taste that. I want to taste the position of my devotees. That's the reason why Krishna appears as Lord Chaitanya. Because to be a servant is the most wonderful position. So we just want to remember everything we do is for Krishna's pleasure. We're just servants. And servants are always taken care by the beloved master. There's no problem. There's no problem. Yeah, this is a powerful verse, very powerful verse, yes. We should not allow failure to disturb us. And oftentimes we are disturbed because of failures, because of difficulties, but we shouldn't. We should be an impetus to try to do better because Krishna is there. Krishna is there. Krishna allows these difficulties actually. And Srila Prabhupada mentions, Krishna will never test you, never put you in difficulty more than you can bear. Means you have never put in such a difficulty that you cannot overcome with the knowledge he has given you, with the intelligence he has given to you. Means he gives you the test as much as you have the capacity to pass it. Like he's not going to give a test of a university student to a primary student. He's not going to do that. If you're a beginner, you have a test related to your beginning stage. If you're an advanced devotee, you're going to have a test related to your advanced stage. The tests are according to our progress in devotional service, are meant to help us to overcome all shortcomings and progress. That's what Krishna wants us to progress, so we're gonna get the mark in the end. Any other reflection or comment? That was a very nice one, Kishore. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashu.
Any other comment or question?
Hare Krishna, Ashu.
Hare Krishna.
I understand po that in dealing with insults, the best options are the number 1 and 3. I'm just curious, Ashu, if you can expound more on number 2 because the words are a bit heavy. Give up your life.
Yeah, okay.
What do we mean by that?
Yeah, it's there in the scriptures, but But Srila Prabhupada and Srila Rupa Goswami, they said, yes, we should, there's no need to do that. There's no need to do it, but it's an injunction of the scriptures because you feel so bad, because this is really, a devotee may feel so bad that Krishna is offended. His devotees are offended and I cannot do anything. So better hide the eye here, better hide the eye and give up my body because I cannot defend my dear Lord, I cannot defend my dear devotees. But this is a very, very extreme situation that most of us were not able to do. This would be a very, very advanced type of devotion to be able to do that. So we are not advised to do that. So don't worry about that point. Just consider the other 2 points. Either you are enough knowledge and enough understanding to convince the other party about his words, may the person rectify himself or herself and understand the position of Krishna and the devotees. Or if you are not able to do that, just leave the place and go away. Don't need to leave your body. Don't worry, Jana.
Thank you, Ashu.
Haribo, I saved you, huh?
Yes, po.
Chamalila, what if I already heard blaspheme of great devotees but didn't leave immediately? Well, what is gone is done. It probably created an impact in your progress at that time that you didn't notice, but it's a fact. It really affects the consciousness. If you are in a place when you hear blasphemy and you don't do anything or you don't go away, we become affected in our consciousness. Means most of our devotional credits are removed at that particular time, so we feel. And our progress is hampered, you know. But we didn't know. You didn't know, so you didn't know, and not knowing gives you a certain level of excuse. But if once you know, and you don't do these things, then yes, then the result is more severe. So if you have not, if at that time you are not really so much aware, you know, of the implication of that can create in your consciousness, even though it did certainly create an implication, but you did not know. So ignorance in this case can be a sort of excuse, but not completely. But once you know, yes, once you know very clearly, you should be very cautious, very, very cautious. Because if you don't do anything, we become part of the offense. We accept. So if you cannot leave, if for some reason you could not leave the place, then at least block your ears. Block your ears. Start chanting very loud, do something. Like Srila Prabhupada, I'll give you an example. Srila Prabhupada was going to give, this was in Tokyo. Srila Prabhupada was invited to a program, to give a talk in a program was by the Indian organization, Indian society there. So they had invited Srila Prabhupada to give a talk. So Prabhupada came with the devotees. They have a kirtan, and Prabhupada was going to talk. So there was a seat, a raised seat for the speaker, but they told Srila Prabhupada that there would be another speaker, not just Srila Prabhupada. It was another speaker, another Swami. So Srila Prabhupada was the first one, was the first invited to speak. So he sat on the Vyasasan, and they did a short kirtan, and Srila Prabhupada started speaking, presenting Krishna consciousness. Then it was the time for the other person to speak. And somebody told Srila Prabhupada, one of his disciples told Srila Prabhupada, the other speaker is a Mayavadi. So when the host of the program came to Srila Prabhupada and said, so Swamiji, do you mind to give your gesture to Srila Prabhupada, because the seat apparently was quite raised in a platform. So he just asked Srila Prabhupada with some gesture if Srila Prabhupada could come down. Prabhupada ignored him. Prabhupada ignored him and kept sitting on that seat, the Vaishnava, the speaker seat, you know, a very high raised seat. So the man insisted one more time, 3 times, and Prabhupada totally ignored. Then the person had no other choice but ask to the other Swamiji to sit down and give his talk. And Prabhupada was on the top there in the raised seat, and he was hearing he started hearing the man speaking. He was speaking in Hindi, so the devotees could not understand. But Srila Prabhupada understand Hindi and understand that the man was introducing the Mayavadi philosophy. Krishna is just Maya. The Krishna does not exist. We are all one. Prabhupada became so angry there. He told the devotees, start kirtan, start kirtan. And the devotees start banging the kartals, start banging the mrindanga, start a very loud kirtan. And the man was forced to stop because nobody could hear him anymore. So this was the way Srila Prabhupada dealt with that blaspheming against Krishna, because Mayavadis are blasphemers. So Prabhupada, because he could not leave at that time, he could not argue with him, because you cannot argue with a Mayavadi. It's just impossible. They are so messed up with Maya. So that Prabhupada, the only way to do was to not allow him to sit in a raised seat and to not allow him to continue speaking his blasphemous thing by having a very loud kirtan. So if you can do something like that also in the gathering and you hear some blasphemy, just start a loud kirtan so that the person cannot be heard anymore. Is also a very nice way. Is a way of defeating the opposing party. You could say the argument, but by a kirtan, by creating a diversion, it's also a nice way you can do. So at least if you cannot really leave, cannot do anything else, block your ears, don't hear. Block your ears. And if you can, as soon as you can move out, move out. And tell the devotees, if you're going to invite this person again, I not come to your place. Yeah. It's very serious. It's a very serious offense. We should not tolerate offenses against the devotees, against our dear Lord and his devotees. Cannot.
Hare Krishna, Ashu.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm seeing back to Oliver Prabhu's hands up.
Oliver, okay. Please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Ashu,
Hare
can you
Krishna,
hear me?
Hare Krishna. Hare Bol, good evening.
Prabhu, I just want to share an experience that that happened to me last Monday night regarding the blaspheming the holy name. I was at the gym, and then a guy walked in. He had the features of an Indian guy, so that caught my attention. So I introduced myself. I told him I'm Oliver Muller, and he introduced himself as Hari. But he has an Indian name, but it was hard to pronounce, so he just introduced himself as Hari. So again, I really wish this knowledge came to me earlier, because when I told him that I was practicing Krishna consciousness, the first thing he told me was, you're practicing Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. Sabi ko, yes, I am. Oh, they are just drug addicts using shabu. They're drinking shabu, and then they're singing Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. And then I told him, oh, my friend, you're committing a great offense. Not only to me, I am deeply offended with what you're saying, but you're also offending the holy name and the Lord. Sabi, no, I will show you a YouTube video. So he showed me a YouTube video, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, I think. He typed it down in my phone, and then he showed me a group of what appeared to be 1970s hippies that were smoking what appears to be drugs.
Yeah.
And then an Indian woman was singing. Prabhu, forgive me, but I could not watch the rest of the video. And then I told him, my friend, I am only interested in sharing what I have because I have not encountered an Indian person with regards to my spiritual practice. But I did not expect that at the first at, at, at first off you would offend my spiritual practice. And my friend, I appreciate whatever it is you are trying to show me, but this is offending me very, very greatly. And then I now understand that not only should I debate him with his blasphemous acts, but I should also leave. But Prabhu, I felt deeply offended that I wanted to physically hit him. So I just left. And then my coach also asked me, let's just leave. And then we just had a good laugh to remove all of that negative emotions within me. But I did not expect that from an Indian person, Prabhu. Really, and it is really with Krishna's arrangement that that very night, Monday night, and then this topic about blaspheming. And I felt so deeply about it, Prabhu, because I did not expect it coming from an Indian person. And he claimed to be Hindu. But what he says is he goes to Christian church, he goes to Hindu temple, he goes to Muslim temple only to look at girls. So clearly, I have encountered a very, very conditioned soul, a blasphemer, a sinner by Christian standards. I just wanted to share that, Ashu, because I can relate with our topic right now.
Yes, it does. It
Prabhu.
does. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Oliver. Yes. Yeah, you did nice. You tried to correct him. That was improper to show these things to you, and you became angry. It was no need. No need. Just go away. Just go away. Go away was the best thing, and not be interested in whatever he wanted to show you. Indians does not mean they are all pious and they are all devotees. No, they aren't. And Srila Prabhupada said Indians outside of India, they are just after sense enjoyment like the Westerners and making money. That's what they want. That's why they leave India. Otherwise, why a person who is interested in follow the highest religious principles, devotional service, would leave India, which is the best place to practice devotional service. Either you go abroad to preach like Srila Prabhupada did and so many other Indian devotees did, to go and preach, or you stay in your home country to practice because it's the best place to practice is in India. So people who leave India to find jobs outside, they are selling themselves to the materialistic people. They are actually very degraded. Srila Prabhupada once said, they are no better than black people, very degraded. Even though they come from such a high culture, they lose all their high culture by associating with meat eaters. And they also engage in meat eaters and smoking and all. And as you said, running after women, So this is things that they will not do in a normal traditional society in India, they will not do. So they do outside because they want to do like the Westerners. So they degrade themselves. Indians are meant to find out the goal of life, to practice, to attain the goal of life. Or if they go abroad, it should be to preach this Dharma, this Vaishnava Dharma to others. That's the mission of any Indian person. Okay, thank you all of you. I don't see any other hand raised. Thank you very much and take care. And have a nice program for Gaur Punim. Dance a lot, sing a lot. This is how what pleases Shishigonitai the most. And Srila Prabhupada. Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Rupa Goswami ki jai. Srila Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki Nitai Gaura Premanande. Hari Hari Hari.
Thank you, Ashu.